Let's talk about the economic impact of the coronavirus.
The incarnation of destruction.
With the spread of COVID-19, we have information both confirmed and alleged coming at us like a fire hose. What is true? What is untrue? It's really hard to tell sometimes. So today we're going to focus on the economic impact of the virus by the way of nations across the globe and their actions. What do all these different countries do? What happens? I don't know. Let's take a look. But as far as this goes, this article today is brought to us by Yahoo Finance. As we can see, the title here is G20 Finance Chiefs Go on Alert with Global Growth at Risk here. And I'm not sure if they meant to or not actually put how coronavirus can infect global supply chains. I mean, I guess that's a possibility. It's showing shareable imports of intermediate products coming from China. As we can see, these United States of America over here, we're basically China's largest trading partner. Mexico is our largest trading partner. But basically, there are always the concerns that, okay, if we're getting packaging over here, if it is airborne, if it can stay on surfaces for a long period of time, these are all things that we don't actually know yet. We're still getting the information. A lot of speculation is going around that the incubation time can literally be up to a month or so. Again, these cases, we don't have enough accurate information to truly say for sure here. But they use the term infect there. I mean, I would tend to say it's either effect or affect, and there's still delineation going on between that. But I digress. So let's get into a couple of clips from this article here. So as we know, the coronavirus so far has killed more than 2,300 people and affected about 80,000 countries, such as Japan, and institutions including the OECD have been pushing for nations with surpluses to spend more to help avert a deeper economic slump. Because here's what happens. All of a sudden, if folks aren't necessarily getting things, if countries are starting to close their borders, all of a sudden the free flow of goods back and forth, you're getting less trade. If there's less trade, folks are going to have less money. So that is going to have an economic effect on them. So what is the actual balance here? How do we make sure that people are safe, as well as we have the free flow of goods and people's businesses aren't necessarily going to be ruined? Because a lot of times you think, oh, it's the big international corporation. I'll be straight up. Pushing up about a decade ago, I was considering opening up a vape shop. Started doing the research and everything to see what I would need, and actually this discussion came about from Tom, aka Pinoy News. Check out Tom's channel there. Because we were kind of discussing the economic effect of just closing down supply chains, just because so much of our economy and economies across the world, they use what's known as just in time. Basically, as soon as you run out of products, you're getting the new products in. Take, for example, like your standard grocery store and stuff. If all of a sudden you're going in there on like a Sunday or something, chances are you might not actually be able to find everything you're looking for, depending on when their supply chain is. Very often on Monday, you see folks restocking the stores and stuff. I'll give you, like, I was at Target the other day, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, Target on a Monday and stuff, they're restocking a lot of stuff. I couldn't get the cat food that little Charizard preferred, so he's having to make do. We all need to make sacrifices. But this article itself is specifically speaking about the G20. It touches on a couple other things, so let's get back into it. So China's representatives were absent from the G20 gathering as authorities there focus on countering the fallout. The world's second largest economy is likely to pick up quickly after the coronavirus is contained and stage a V-shaped recovery, according to Chen Yulo, deputy governor at the People's Bank of China. Here's the thing. China's been around for a long time. They have a very long historic culture. Don't count those folks out. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, no, times are tough over there. But like they say, when times are tough, the tough get going. And the Chinese people, they're pretty frickin' tough. Wuhan Jiju. My big thing is, yes. I mean, there are some folks out there that are likely betting against the markets because all of a sudden there's risk here. And just a lot of it is we don't know. And if you don't know, there's risk. Markets don't like risk. That's why you're starting to see a lot of sell-offs, in my opinion. Again, I am not an economic advisor. I ain't licensed with any of this. I did study business, but these are just my general observations and opinion. That's why it's labeled as such. So, but we see this, and yeah, everybody affects everybody here. So let's continue reading on. So this next snippet. The International Monetary Fund Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva, said Saturday the outbreak had led to the lender to cut its forecast for Chinese growth to 5.6% from 6% and to trim 0.1 percentage points on the global growth forecast. But that's also looking at more dire situations, based if it goes full-blown pandemic or something, and you could have just mass scale effects. I could say it may actually be more than that, it may actually be less than that, but the thing is, China, yeah, that seems like only a 0.4% growth, but when you're talking about China that just has been growing and just seemed to be just non-stop. Why is that? It's because, well, a lot of folks were ordering parts from China. I was looking at ordering stuff for my vape shop on Alibaba. I'm like, wait a second, that $60 starter vape kit that I got, I can buy in lots of 100 for like $12 a piece with my own custom packaging. It's a 500% markup. That's pretty dang good. Yeah, you got to buy a large amount of them, but that's the thing. A lot of companies are built that way, whether they're mom and pop or whether they're larger businesses as well. So these are things we need to consider. And to take off 0.1% off the entire global economy, that is a lot. Again, they say they're forecasting more dire situations. I would say if it was more dire, we could see a greater potential effect, again, in my opinion there. But these are the experts, so we'll take a look at what's going on, and again, here's hoping that we don't get anywhere near there. So, here's a quote. Quote, fiscal policy should be flexible and growth-friendly while ensuring debt as a share of GDP is on a sustainable path. The communique said monetary policy should continue to support economic activity and ensure price stability consistent with central bank mandates. I mean, that sounds good. I mean, yeah, you always leverage debt and stuff like that. Here's the thing. If you are investing, you may take upon debt to grow something. Like you might take out a loan for a business, perhaps. Let's say you have a pizza shop and all of a sudden, well, you got that old clanky oven, it's not working all that great, the pizza is it's starting to suffer. To buy one of those industrial ovens, that can cost, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 grand or so. So you know what? Not every business owner has that cash laying around. So maybe you take out a $20,000 equity loan in the business. You get that new oven, you start cranking out the best dang pepperoni pizza this side of the Mississippi. You end up paying off the loan ahead of time because, hey, got that extra cash flow going in for slinging that cheddar, pun intended. But the one last thing I did actually want to get into here, because it was a meeting of the G20 and it wasn't just about the coronavirus. So since this is an economic article, I just did want to highlight one point here and probably trigger MC. Check out his channel there. In a press briefing after the meeting concluded, Mnuchin said there was a disproportionate focus on some elements of the digital tax discussion. Basically what they had been doing is, basically with a lot of Silicon Valley companies and this international thing, let's face it, for a number of years, you could order something from a state with tax, or be in a state with tax, and when you order from Amazon, you didn't get to charge any tax. They recently have been changing that, but let's face it, legislation always lags behind technology. And I get it, it's like, okay, if you're still in certain places, and, okay, like in Massachusetts, we got like, I think 6.25% sales tax here. All right, I buy something from Amazon, I gotta pay that 6.25%. If you're in France, here's the thing, it is international. So is it a way to avoid taxes? And again, you just gotta lay out the rules fairly. So let's continue with what we're discussing here, the digital tax discussion. And call on its counterparts to step back and focus on the global minimum tax. That's an entirely other video that somebody reminds me I'll most likely make at some point, because I don't even know what that is, for which he said there was broad agreement. He declined to define what he meant by safe harbors. What they were talking about is certain areas where maybe you may have a certain benefit, or perhaps certain sectors, because a lot of times, like over here, clothing, foodstuffs, and everything, typically you don't have a tax on that because those are vital necessities. If I'm going to go out there and buy a new Corvette, I'm going to be paying a sales tax, although automobiles, technically there's a tax anyway. But a lot of times I'll have like the gas guzzler tax. Hey, I had that for like, I think my Trans Am, or at least when it was initially there. Oh jeez, I like those cars. But it said that U.S. has been consistent in stating that the digital services tax would be discriminatory against U.S. companies. Let's face it, Silicon Valley does make up a large amount of this Internet of Stuff and Things. It is within these United States. Any type of digital tax will be disproportionately affecting these United States. That's absolutely true. And he is focused on the interest of these United States. Hey, that's his job. He's at the G20. He's serving at the pleasure of President Trump right now. We'll have to see what happens. But just as far as the coronavirus goes, COVID-19, there's a lot of fear, and that fear is also affecting the markets. Yeah, folks are buying up masks left and right as well. But if all of a sudden people do start overly freaking out, and it ends up not being as serious, well, I don't know. That's the thing. What is the actual information going out? I mean, China hopefully will start releasing a lot more information, because I've heard some very, very sinister accusations. Again, serious accusations are going to require serious evidence as well. I tend to believe most of this will come out in time. But here's the thing right now. It is affecting the world. We are seeing an effect on the markets. Last time I checked, I think last evening, gold was up above like $1,600 or so an ounce as well. Because when folks default to, oh my God, what the heck is happening? Well, we've been using like actual precious metals for currency for, I don't know, a couple millennia. So it just makes sense. But that's a real quick little economic video. Figure we'd break up the monotony on some things. Again, unfortunately it is a terrible issue, but hey, Wuhan Jiju. Thank you all for watching. Peace out, everybody.